Hi, good morning, everyone. We're working on our new lesson for today. Outliers. What are the outlier or outliers in a set of data? And this lesson, we're just going to be working on outliers just by quick inspection or looking at the set of data. What is an outlier? Okay. So to start with, let's define what an outlier is. So an outlier is a value that lies outside is as much smaller or larger than the most of the other number in a set of data. So for example, the scores 23, 29, 3, and so on and so forth, we have this outlier. So both 3 and 85 are the outliers. If you look at this example that we have, so in just this graph, this number is too far away from the set. So just by looking at it or by inspection, 9.5 will be our outlier. So this data, that is the outlier for this example. So let's see more examples to see what an outlier is. All right, so we use iexcel.com in school, and kudos to iExcel, and thank you for letting me use your website. But this is one of the examples that we have. Select the outlier in data set. So we have 1, 21, 25, 38, 74, 92, 98, and 705. Just by looking at it, just by inspection, we definitely could say that 705 is the outlier. It's like too far away from every part of the set. So let's try that. Pick that, turn it in, and says yes, we're right. All right, let's look at this example again. 5, 57, 35, 67, 70, and so on and so forth. In this case, it's so obvious that our outlier is 5, right? Because that's 89, close by 10, by 3, by 5. This is the one that is like 45 gap between each other. So let's take 5. Correct. So here's another one. Select the outlier on this data set. So obviously it is 659, because just by looking at the numbers, 659 is so obvious to become our outlier. So in this one, we have 9, 21, 85, 90, 30, 95, 608, and 38. So sometimes you're so quick and you will say, wait a minute, it's 21, because it's far from 99 and 85. But look, there's a 608. So we'll pick 608 unless it's in the worksheet and tells you what are the outliers of the set of data. So let's take 6. I mean 6. Yeah. So select the outlier in this data set. So obviously it's 1, correct? So select the outlier in the data set. If you're looking very, very carefully, that's why it's only by inspection, because it's so clear what is the outlier in the set. You don't even have to think. You just look which one is far away from each other. So if you look over this, it's so obvious. Most of the questions are obviously done. Most of the problems have really clear outliers. So for example, look, you could see right away Python. All right, let's look at the graph. After this one, let's look at a graph and see where is the outlier for the graph. So 381, there you go. Wonder. The data set is not just represented in numbers, so sometimes it's also represented in a graph. So obviously in the set of data, this is our outlier, correct? Okay, so let's move on to our next data. So for this graph, it's a scattered plot, but if you observe those green dots, it's far away from set. So in this case, there are actually 3 outliers. This is almost 1, but it's still close. This is like a little bit far, far, and far. So those 3 points are your outlier. All right, so for this example, this is our outlier. We call this cluster we call also this a cluster. We call this gap in the data set. There's a gap, that's why this is an outlier, but the gap over here is not that far from each other. So this 10 is the outcast or the outlier. All right, so later on we're gonna solve a outlier where you're really gonna solve it by using the formula. For this lesson today was just by inspection, but next time we're gonna use the formula in finding the outliers. All right, so that was our lesson in finding the outliers just by inspection. So I hope you understand, even though it was just a quick lesson. The next lesson we're gonna have is outliers using a formula. So for now, that's it. Have a good day, everyone, and I hope you had a very, very good day. So enjoy, and until next time, bye for now.